All right, I think I should be live now. So again, for people that don't know what this is, I do random live streams once in a while just to hang out and chill, have a casual conversation with our subscribers. If you are saying this, you're probably part of the notification gang because the subscriber gang people are not going to see a lot of these videos. So if you're only a subscriber and haven't hit the notification button, then don't just be a subscriber. Hit the notification thing too, because most people who are subscribers are not going to see these videos, So hit the bell thingy. Again, it should be here. Not just hit the subscribe, but also hit the bell. And then select all. Hi, Susanna. Susanna saying your live audio is good. Great. Thank you, Susanna. Matt is saying what's up. And also, who's this? The Lone Wanderer is also here. Matt, sorry, last on the news live stream, I was confused about you joking or not. So sorry about that. Raven is here saying hello. Send me some questions or something that we could talk about. Chris is here. Chris is saying, "Hey, Armin." Chris, you're a patron, but we keep doing our patron discussions without you joining in. Hopefully, one of these days when I call, you're available. AKL561 is saying, "Hi, Armin." Matt is saying it's fine. I like this new format where I could highlight the comments because then I could know which was the last comment. By the way, did you guys see Saudi Arabia and Russia's price war on oil is so insane, and now it ended. Finally, it ended. But what a major disaster for Saudi Arabia. Every time oil prices go down, I get a little bit happy. The faster Saudi Arabia's government goes bankrupt, the happier I get. Seriously. But the price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia, that was intense. But now it finally ended because of the United States. I never, when I was a kid, I was never imagined seeing the United States being a major oil exporter, and oil coming out of the United States has been a major. It's going to eventually strain the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States. But for oil exports to make any sense for United States, oil prices has to be above a certain level. So the price war between Saudi Arabia and Russia was really hurting the oil industry in the United States. And the United States finally went to Saudi Arabia and you cut it out, okay? This is not working for us. And Saudi Arabia, being a puppet that it is for the United States, eventually had to listen to its masters. Let me see. Susanna is saying, Atheist Republic, I think you'll be proud of me, Armin. I came out to my grandparents as bisexual and atheist today on Easter Sunday. Wow. How did that work? Was the response negative, positive? Were they accepting? That's amazing. Good job. Which one? Did any of the bisexual or atheists, did that disappoint them at all? If any of that disappointed them, was one of them more disappointing than the other one, or were they accepting of both? How did that work out? Boogie Monster Mom is saying, hello, Armin and everyone. Hello. Chris is saying, yeah, I work from 2:30 p.m. till 11 p.m. Jesus, that's a lot of work. Central Time. So when you call, it's usually right after my last break ends. Sorry, I'll try to switch it around a little bit. What's this? Click menu, then click people, go under location, pick on what? I don't understand what this is. What is this? I don't know what you're talking about, weirdo. I have no. Okay, weirdo. I don't know if you want to start trolling, I'm gonna remove you. Okay. Mad saying, I hope they're not mad. Susanna, yeah, me too. Tell us, Susanna. We're waiting to see if they were accepting or not. AK saying, holy crap, Susanna. I hope you're doing okay after that. Yeah. You should talk about it next time you come on the live stream. By the way, if you guys you don't know, Susanna is our co-host right now on Atheist Republic's news shows, and she's the ex-Christian, ex-Catholic, and ex-Antifa. So she left 2 different calls that, so that's, and her personality is very is making our news segment a lot more interesting. Okay, Susanna is saying they were so nice. They said it didn't matter at all. They still love me. They had more questions about being atheist. Actually, that makes sense. Actually, if you have questions about being an atheist than bisexual, because you don't choose to be bisexual, but you choose to be an atheist. So I would have more questions about that as well if I was them. Weirdo is saying, could you prank call this person? Weirdo, if you ask questions like this, if I'm gonna remove you, Weirdo. I'm gonna like remove you forever from the channel. It's just gonna be like, if you keep doing this, this is your last warning. Okay. Here. Muslims in Australia making the case for the global adoption of Islam due to the coronavirus, the adoption of a face covering, no handshaking, 0% interest. Okay, so first of all, let's do it one by one. Okay. Face covering is only for, first of all, face covering is it's not in the Quran. The hijab thing is not even in the Quran. Okay. And hijab, there's no face covering in Islam unless you really get specific with some teachings. But most Islamic teachers say you could cover your hair and that's about it, right? So Islam would not mandate face covering because it doesn't. It's just you're just supposed to cover your hair. So face covering, that's nonsense. That's not going to help, and it's only for women. And no handshaking. Who said there's no handshaking? There's no handshaking between men and women. There's still handshaking in Islam. So, and also in many, like in Iran, people kiss each other's faces, just like in Europe. So that's still allowed, and that would spread the virus. But another thing is that none of the handshaking and even the covering of the, any like the face, which is not even mandated in Islam, none of that is because of the virus. All of that is because of sexual stuff, right? So it's like, apparently you get, if a man shakes the hand of a woman, all of a sudden they get too horny and they can't control themselves anymore because they felt another woman's hand. So that's the purpose behind no handshaking between men and women. If it said like, oh, don't shake people's hand because it could spread the disease, then I would be like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. But that was not the reasoning behind no handshaking. What 0% interest? How does that even work? If you have 0% interest, why would anybody lend money to anybody? Like, what would you do the purpose? Like, I have this. There would be no banks. There would be no. The whole economy will collapse. Like, that doesn't even make sense. All right. Interest, how could you have 0% interest? That makes no sense. Anybody that understands anything about finance and economics knows that it's impossible to have 0 interest rate. The whole world, financial system, banks, everything, investments, all of it will fall apart. So that makes no sense. Yep, I agree with this. Yeah, this guy is saying it would have to apply to men too. Bernie's out. The question is why? Well, because a lot of people think Twitter is real life. I mean, Twitter is part of real life, but it's not it's not part of all real life. There is not that much of a demand for what the progressives want. If you're only on Twitter, or Facebook, it might seem like there's the demand for it is more than people think. It's not. Okay, there is a ceiling, right? Bernie had a ceiling. The ceiling might be a little bit higher than some people in the centrist leftist think, but it's still, there's a ceiling. And I'm not saying if he's right or wrong. I'm just saying the demand for it is overestimated. Chris is saying the fundamentalist guide at my work is in the first stage of atheism denial. Okay. That's fine. My family still hate I don't pray at the table since they are highly Catholic and I'm an atheist. Do they? Okay, Raven said that. Raven, do they know that you're an atheist? Susanna saying, my grandparents are Trump supporters and Catholic converts, so it was very nervous. Wow. But they told me that they appreciate my integrity and they're proud that I shared it with them. Wow. Okay, so they're Catholic converts. Converts are always, I mean, not always, converse I think in my experience, I don't know actually if that's even mostly in my experience, which might not be which is not statistically significant and might not represent what the reality is out there, converts are usually more serious about their religion than people that just take it from their parents. So it's interesting that they're Trump supporters and Catholic converts and they accepted you, so that's very encouraging. Raven is saying, I actually found out over my maternity leave when I was over by family with my baby that my uncle is highly homophobic. I tried arguing with him about it, but he didn't want to hear my opinion. Well, I tried something on my dad. My dad was always found gay sex to be disgusting. The argument that I used on my dad that instantly changed his mind was this. I told him, imagines like, do you think like really old, like 280-year-old people, man and woman having sex, is that disgusting? And he said, yes, that's also disgusting to him. And I said, well, do you think they should not have sex? Or are you not happy for them that they are able to continue having sex at age 80? And he said, like, yeah, they should have sex, it's fine. And like, yeah, see, it's disgusting to you, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be happy and have sex. That instantly changed his mind. I don't know, maybe it doesn't work for the other people that it worked, but it worked on my dad. Susanna is saying thanks. Where did it go? Thanks for the love, everyone. Matt is saying, LLA, why compare religion to a deadly pandemic? Why not? It is, because religion is a deadly pandemic. Raven is saying yes, they know about her atheism. I don't know what this. Okay, we're just saying, I'm sorry, I won't troll. Much love. No. You shouldn't troll at all. Okay, not just much. Just be serious. You asked some good questions about like white nationalism or identity politics. So ask those kind of questions. Those are some of the stuff that I enjoy talking about. So I don't want you to go because you bring those up. Boogie Monster Mom saying, do you think it could also be because his backers tend to be younger? Who's backer? What are we referring to? Bernie's. Okay, do you think it could also be because his backers tend to be younger and they just don't go out and vote as much as people in other age brackets? Yeah, that's also part of it. Just talking about Sanders, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, that's also part of it. But there's also a ceiling. I mean, as right now, I don't know if it's going to change the future, but there's a ceiling. Susanna saying, I agree that converts are more serious. They have greater conviction because they voluntarily and actively chose their doctrine. Yes. Most people that are born into their religion, they don't think about their religion much. They never had to think about their religion much. It's just part of your life. You just go through the motions. Weirdo, I don't know, saying, I want to ask about last stream. Could you explain what you said to my answer that I pointed out in the comment section? I have no idea what you're referring to. I don't remember what you just said at the beginning of the stream. So how do you expect me to remember what I said about in the last stream? You have to be more specific. So tell me what you're referring to and I'll answer. Much love back to you. Thoughts on minimalism? I tried it. It's fun to try it for a while because I realize every time I try minimalism, I realize how much stuff I have in my life that I don't actually need. And it's encouraging to see how easy it is to go through life with very little and still be happy. I do find stuff that I don't need, but I really enjoy having. So I don't like to be an extreme minimalist, but I am definitely for looking at things and realizing, I could survive without this. I don't need this. It's just decluttering your life. It's very liberating. Very liberating. Like there's some, like for example, like the reason why I don't do it often is because, for example, these books, right? I don't, a lot of the information here, I could just look it up online. But I like I like having them. I don't know. It's just fun to have them. Most of the books I read, I don't have a physical copy of them, right? Most of the book I read is on my phone. But some books I just like enjoy holding. But I don't know. There's so many things that I remove once I either was forced to remove from my life or voluntarily removed from my life, and then I realized, like, yeah, this is fine. So it means that I could survive with very, very little, right? So that's good. I like minimalism. It's liberating. Suzanne is saying, oh, that's not for me. What is this? Chris is saying, what I mean by denial is when you can tell someone's faith is slipping by the things they say, but they say their faith is still strong. Yeah. Just don't be certain that you know what's going on. It's fun to guess, and I do guess about what's going on in people's minds sometimes. But don't be certain of it, okay? Because people's minds are complicated, right? So you can't read their mind. Social distance yourself from religion. Okay, that's not for me. That's not for me. What's this guy? I am an atheist from Turkey, an ex-author who was personally threatened by Erdogan. No way. Are you telling the truth? Personally, I was lucky that the huge protest of 2013 disrupted his interest in me. Okay, I don't know if I could believe you, but if you're telling the truth, that's pretty serious. Okay, let me see. Easy saying the atheists are at it again. Mashallah, mashallah. Masha Iblis. Masha Iblis. Okay, so weirdo is referring to what I said in the live stream. At around 1557, Armin said, whether or not they're respecting the culture of the country that they're coming in or not doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Why would it matter? Yeah, why would it matter? Again, by culture, I mean, again, there's two definitions of culture, and they're completely separate from each other. And now I have names for them. Every time I wanted to talk about this, I would define them, I would explain them. Now I'm just going to refer them to traditions or values. Okay, so culture, we're going to put culture as the tradition category and culture as a value category. Okay, so when I say that you don't need to respect a culture, I'm talking about traditions. Values you should respect because they're superior values and they're inferior values. Okay, if by culture you're referring to values, you shouldn't just those superior values. You shouldn't just respect them because you're entering a certain country. You should respect them no matter where you are. Okay, that's a global thing. Okay, you should respect them even if you're in the worst country on the planet, and if you're in a right. So the best values out there are the Enlightenment values, and they've become better and better throughout the years as more people keep adding to them. But those values that we support and we defend, you should respect those values. Respect, I don't know if respect is the right word. You should fight for those values even if you're in Saudi fucking Arabia. Okay, you don't have to come to Europe and be like, now that I'm in Europe, I'm going to respect these values. Okay, doesn't matter. That's location independent. Okay, when it comes to traditions, why would I just respect any traditions that I like, I enjoy. Okay, if you are in Saudi fucking Arabia and you like to Spanish dance, enjoy Spanish dancing. I don't right. If you go to Spain and you like Saudi dancing, do the Arab dance, do the Arab belly dance. I don't. Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck? Okay. So when it comes so if by culture you mean values, both of them are location independent. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're entering a country, leaving a country, staying in your own country. Okay, the values, you should follow the superior values, whether you're in Saudi fucking Arabia or in Europe, some Western European countries. Okay, the traditions, there's no should there. There's no, I don't promote any of them over the other one. When it comes to values, I promote some of them over the other one because there's some of them are superior, some of them are inferior. When it comes to traditions, it's based on your own personal taste. Go with whatever you like. Go with all of them. Go with none of them. Yeah. Does that make sense? Again, by culture, you have to define what you mean by culture. And again, I put it in two different categories. One of them I fight for, one of them you do whatever you do you. Susanna is saying, make sure to slap the like and subscribe button like it's Quran 434. Yes. Thank you, Susanna. I'm glad you have more safety now. Oh, that's not for me. Oh, here. Chris is saying, Armin, what do you think of the 6 foot minimum distance when people are still at the store picking things up and putting them back? I don't know. I'm not an expert on what the proper distance should be. Is that what CDC and WHO are saying? If that's what they're saying, then do that. If that's what, is that what they're saying? I don't know. Why would I know? Yeah, I'm not an expert. If that is what they're saying, then I'm for it. If they're not saying that, then I'm not. Marcus is saying, dear Armin, what is the thing people should read upon while they have extra time in quarantine? Well, that depends on what their goals are. What is their goals? What I suggest is that be on an information diet, right? Not just because the content is valuable or as a book is good to read, that doesn't mean you should read it, because every time you read something and every time you're consuming a content, there's an opportunity cost to it. When I'm reading a book, I'm not just evaluating the value that I'm getting out of this book. I'm also evaluating the books that I'm not reading because I'm spending time on reading that book, right? So you have to look at the value that you're getting out of the content you're consuming, and also the opportunity cost that you're losing because of the book that you're reading. Okay, so it really depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve. And also what you enjoy. Very important. A lot of people just think like, oh, you have to be, they think like your brain is like a robot. Like when you're exercising, for example, right? There's some exercises that are better, but you really hate them. Okay, it really sucks. Like personally, you don't enjoy doing them. So don't do them, even though they're better, because you're going to stop doing them. Your quality of life is going to you're like, okay, this exercise is really good. This is the second best exercise, but the second best exercise, I'm probably going to do it more often because it's a lot more fun to me than the first exercise, right? Do the second best exercise, right? You're not like a robot that you can constantly do the most advantageous thing. A lot of people are like, oh, you should be completely logical, so you should ignore emotions. Well, the most logical thing is to take into account the influence of your emotions. Taking into account the influence of your emotion is the most logical thing to do. Okay, that's the same thing with books. There's a lot of knowledge that out there that you can think like, okay, this is the most useful thing to me, but it's so boring that it's like every single minute seems like I'm spending in hell, like reading this. Right? Don't read that. Go to read the things that is helpful, but you also enjoy. Okay, so I personally am now reading about the history of Judaism on my Audible while I run. I'm also doing some research on the historicity of Muhammad. I mean, I don't know if read is the Audible that I'm reading is part of the great courses. Let me see let me tell you what the book is. The Beginnings of Judaism. Another book that I just downloaded that I'm going to do soon is The History of Iran After the Safavid Dynasty. The name of the book is just Iran, but that's the description. I'm going to start doing a lot more of Bart Ehrman's books. Before I start reading Bart Ehrman books, I'm going to take a crash course. Sorry, one of the great courses on Audible by Bart Ehrman as well, on the New Testament as well. What else do I have? I'm gonna. Where's that book that I always wanted to read? I keep forgetting its name. Yeah, there's another really good book. Hold on. That I downloaded recently. Okay. No, it's not here. It's not here. I don't know where it is. Forgot the name. It's about Christianity in the United States. Anyways, I'm going to read that as well. Susanna is saying, everyone, I want you, if you want Armin to see your comment, you have to tag Atheist Republic, not Armin. Yes, thank you, Susanna. Chris saying, absolutely agree. People are complicated. I'm still going to have discussions with him in the hopes I can get him to understand my point of view. Make sure it's welcomed. Like if you're having discussions with people about the religion or views, don't talk to people that don't want to be talked to. Here. Vera, did you ask something that I missed? If you did, tag Atheist Republic before you ask it. Veganath is saying, would you agree with the value, not the what? Guys, I don't know what that word is. Are there human and non-human animals who suffer unnecessarily? Okay. Oh my God, we're getting into veganism. Oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna take some time. I don't know if I'm gonna miss a lot of other. Okay, so you remember how I talked about the value of emotion? So let me. I think it works the same way with morality, right? So I think that vegans have been very, very destructive when it comes to reducing the suffering of animals, right? So I agree that. Am I understanding your question right? Yeah, I think I'm understanding right. Yeah, I do see the value that non-human animals, obviously, their suffering matters, and their suffering technically should matter as much as human animals, right? But to me, like for example, if you ask, it should, but it doesn't. Okay, it should. What does it should is a strong word. There's the fact that I care more about my wife's happiness or my brother's happiness than some random stranger. Technically, there's no purely logical reasoning behind that, right? Because I love my wife more than I love most people, but am I claiming that my wife is more valuable than other people? No, right? I mean, to me, she is. But in the same way, there's no technical reason. There's no reason why a chicken should their suffering shouldn't matter more than humans, right? But I am biologically wired in a way to care more about humans than chickens, right? And I'm not saying we shouldn't care about chickens, but I'm saying if you expect people to care about chickens as much as humans, as much as they try, they're going to get emotionally exhausted and they're just going to abandon you completely, right? You are asking them too much for too much. You should just ask them to care. You shouldn't ask them to care equally, right? Does that make sense? I mean, I can get into so much more detail. This is actually, so for example, like another way that I am biologically wired, like you have that question, like, so if you see a girl in front of you that is dying from starvation, like a child, right? That's the example that they give you, right? And you care about that more than if you hear 5,000 children are dying in so and so country. You are more likely to help that one person that is in front of you than do anything for the 5,000, even though that's much of a greater. That 5,000 is not going to affect you emotionally as much as the thing that is right in front of your eyes isn't happening, right? But that's how we're just wired. You can't be like, oh, logically you should care more about the 5,000. And if you want people, if you go tell people that you should care about the 5,000 more, because their brain is not wired that way, what you're going to end up doing is they're going to end up not caring about that one person in front of them either. They're going to get emotionally exhausted, right? To constantly trying to be consistent. Again, a lot of people think like logically means like ignoring emotion. I'm telling you that it's illogical not to take into account how we are wired emotionally, right? Instead of trying to make everybody care about that 5,000 children that are not next to them, if you just encourage that one person to care about, instead of one child next to them, to care about two child next to them, you might double the sympathy in the whole freaking planet, right? So for veganism related stuff, I would say that what the activism should have been was for, instead of people not to eat animals, should have been for people to care about companies. I mean, anti-big corporate is already very popular. It would have been so easy if the entire focus was like, oh, big corporations are torturing animals. We need stricter rules on how they treat animals in their farms. That would have been such an easier win, instead of like, stop eating meat. That's a losing battle. It's not it was a losing battle until these same big corporations are figuring out how to actually make meat without just grow meat, right? So it's interesting because the big corporate that everybody hates is actually coming up with the ultimate solution. Would you invite Dariush Ashkani on your stream? I don't know who that person is, and the answer is yes. This culture discussion is just boring as fuck. Well, sorry. I find it very interesting. That's a subjective thing to say. Antonia is saying, hi, Armin, have you come to Indonesia to meet all of the Indonesian atheists? I don't know. Is it safe for me to go to Indonesia? Again, Indonesia is an Islamic country. And again, every time I say, is it safe for me to go to Indonesia? People say like, yeah, I'm an atheist in Indonesia, so it's safe. Okay, just because an atheist can go to Indonesia, that doesn't mean that an atheist that burns the Quran like me, that has a viral Allah is gay video, is it safe for me? Okay, I'm not talking about any atheist. Is it safe for me to go to Indonesia? I don't think it is safe for me to go to Indonesia. Muhammad is saying, how are the the Afghan refugees? So Afghan refugees in Iran are treated like second class. There's a lot of opposition to that as well. A lot of people are saying it's unfair. There's a lot of anti-racism campaigns in Iran, but generally there's a lot of racism against Afghans. They're kind of like Mexicans doing in United States, doing the jobs that Iranians don't want to do, and looked at as inferior labor related work. They're treated very unfairly. Both by the people and the government. The government is even worse. They take their children and send them to wars. Where is he? Man, I'm so behind. Okay, I'm gonna only read the comments that has Atheist Republic tagged in there. Vegan I don't know how do you say them. Is saying, would you agree with the value? Oh, I already read that. Oh, that's why I couldn't read the first time, because it was saying the cause. Okay, so I already responded to that. Okay, here. Weirdo, I don't know, is saying, what's the craziest ride you've ever been on? For me, it was Tower of Terror at Hollywood Studios. Well, for me, it was a Tower of Terror at Tokyo. Was that Tokyo Universal Studios, or was that Tokyo? Was that, I forgot, it was Osaka Universal Studios or Tokyo Disneyland? I think it was Tokyo Disneyland Tower of Terror. By the way, Tokyo's Disneyland is way, way, way superior to LA's Disneyland. And not even even ignoring the fact that I have a Disney Sea. Okay? First of all, if you go to Tokyo and you have to decide whether you want to go to Disneyland or Disney Sea, definitely go to Disney Sea, because they're the only place that they have a Disney Sea. Okay? But even if you just focus on Disneyland and ignore Disney Sea, their Disneyland is better than LA. and Paris as well. They're the best Disneyland, Tokyo's. AKL saying audio version of Peter, Paul, and Mary and How Jesus Became God are available on YouTube, both Armin. Yeah, but the Audible platform is just makes it so easy to run and listen. I mean, I do listen to YouTube videos, news as well when I'm running. Chris saying, I don't know what this is referring to. I'm only going to look at the ones that has Atheist Republic in there. How long have we going? Oh, this is getting long. Oh my god. Okay, I'm going to respond shorter. Are you familiar with ADV podcast? No. The two YouTubers that deal with covering the truth. I don't know who they are. Are they good? Vegan is saying, for necessary to mean anything, it cannot include amusement, convenience, or pleasure. I hope you agree. Yeah, but amusement, convenience, or pleasure are part of life. You cannot ignore them. I mean, yes, they're not necessary, but they influence our behavior. You cannot do activism if you ignore amusement, convenience, and pleasure, right? Even when it comes to humans, you cannot, like, even if you focus on activism that is only focused on humans, you cannot ignore these things to people. You have to make people feel something. You have to amuse them with the information that they're consuming. You have to look at the pleasure. You cannot expect people to care. The whole idea of caring for animals and humans is a pleasure concept. Okay, so how could you not? You cannot ignore that. Like, when people want to help human animals or non-human animals, the only reason why they would help them is because they get pleasure out of caring for something, right? So the whole point of activism is to encourage that pleasure, right? So, for example, vegan activists, they're competing between two separate pleasure. Everything is about pleasure, right? So what you're telling them, what vegans are telling people, the pleasure that you get out of meat is inferior to the pleasure that you're going to get out of being a person that cares about animals, right? It's a competition between pleasures. Everything is about pleasure. Boogie Monster Mom is saying, are you sure biologically wired is the right term? Is it not more on the side of socially conditioned? I may be wrong. Well, it's both. It's both. And some of the feelings that, a lot of it is biological. Like, for example, the fact that some of us are straight, some of us are gay, some of us are bisexual is influenced by both. It's definitely biological. Or the fact that, how could it not be biological? Do you think, like, the fact that I care more about humans than a mosquito is not biological? Like, do you think we could socially be conditioned to care about mosquitoes as much as we care about humans? I don't think you could socially condition us that way. We're biologically wired to care more about humans. This is how you know it's also biologically wired. Other animals care about their more species more than they care about animals that are not in their species. That's how you know it's biological. There's very few animals, like dogs, for example. Dogs care about humans more than they care about other dogs. That's because we biologically engineered them that way, to care about us more than other dogs. But most other animals, they care about their fellow members of their species than they care about other animals. And we are not different. In fact, this is how you also know that we're biologically wired to be like that. We care about animals that are cute more than animals that are not cute. So what is cute? Cute means features that we see in humans that make other humans cute. That's why we care about baby seals more than we care about mosquitoes. That's why we care about whales more than we care about sharks. Even though sharks probably need more, I don't know, actually, that's true. But I think sharks need our attention more. But again, the cuteness feature has features that we see as attractive in other humans. So again, there's similarity between them and humans, and those attributes show that we're biologically wired to care about certain human features. All right, James is saying, it feels like the Muslims who enjoy arguing about Islam are infertile soil. What are you talking about? Oh, how important do you think it is to try and reach beyond the typical apologist scene? Reach more receptive Muslims, or do you disagree? Well, I mean, the trick is to just stay where you are and shout as loud as you possibly can, because the Muslims and the Christians and the Jews and the Hindus that are interested, you don't even have to come to. You don't even have to go to them, because they will come to you. Okay, the low hanging fruit of the Muslim and the Christian and the Jewish and the Hindu worlds, they already are curious and skeptical, and they're looking around for people that don't think like them. So just go announce that you're against Islam, and they will come to you. I will never stop eating certain kinds of cats. Okay. Um, that was that was on me. Okay. I don't know how to say your name. Mr. Crit. That was Mr. Critique. ARSA, it's likely not safe for Armin to visit Indonesia. Okay, then Indonesia, which is very sad because that's the largest Islamic country in the world. I wish I could go to Indonesia because it's right there. I'm right next to them right now. James saying, do you have any tips for burning the Quran? I'm thinking of doing a video doing that. The most important tip is don't burn down your house and be very safe. Do it outside. Make sure there's no. Okay. Actually, to be legally safe, I'm gonna suggest you not do it because I'm scared. Okay, do it in a. I don't want to cause anybody to harm themselves anyway. If do you have something that you barbecue meat in or something like that? Like, I don't know what they're called. Do it in a barbecue, okay? Because it's already built in a way that it's supposed to be safe. Just be very careful, please. Don't burn anything down, okay? I don't accept any responsibility for people burning the Quran and all of a sudden burning down the house. Just be very, very, very safe about it. And only burn like a few pages. You don't need to burn the entire thing. The covers are not. If you throw the entire book in the fire, it's not going to burn well because the covers are not very flammable, right? Just take out a few pages and just burn those pages, okay? And also try to have a cheap Quran. Like I have some very, I have some Qurans that are so expensive and very nice. Like I'm never going to burn this Quran. This was very expensive and it has tafsir and everything in there, so I'm not going to burn this one. I love this one. And I also have a gay Quran. It's a rainbow Quran. I'm never going to burn this one. Like, look at this. Yeah. Yeah, I'm never going to burn that. But I also, when I burn the Quran, I burn a copy of my own book, Why There Is No God. Because people are like, oh, that's so hateful. So I told them, like, how could it be hateful? I'm burning my own book as well. If it's hateful, then I hate myself. I don't hate myself. Okay, so let me see. Weirdo, I don't know, saying, have you ever experienced racism? Yes, but very little. And it wasn't a big deal. To me, at least. Yeah. Is he saying, why doesn't Atheist Republic have a Discord server yet? Too many Atheist Discord server already thought. Well, because I can't record videos. Does Discord allow you to record? I don't want to have conversations unless it could be recorded and shared publicly, right? Or else it would be a waste of my time. Like these ones will be there for more people to see. And it's Discord is just audio, isn't it? Like there's no video. Like I like visual content. I don't know. Is there value in that? Let me know if there's a demand for making an Atheist Republic Discord server. ARN saying, Armin, we desperately need more content in Urdu and Arabic. There is a huge gap in the secular atheist content word for the language. Okay, if you guys, we already made a Persian channel. We have a Arabic channel that is a little bit active. If you guys want to help me jumpstart make more content for our Arabic channel and you speak Arabic, you have to be very good speaker. You have to make videos and send us so we could upload it on our Arabic channel, covering like talking about the news, talking about your opinions, and Urdu as well. If you guys have volunteers, you have to have a good, microphone. Camera doesn't have to be that good, but your microphone has to be, you know, good. You don't have to go live. You could just send me the videos and send me the title and description. I'll just upload it for you. So I want our Arabic and Urdu channels for Atheist Republic just to be like our Persian. Like it could be just the voice of the community. Like you have multiple contributors to it as well, and then we'll start promoting it on our page, right? Iman is saying, "Man, I've known you for like 3 months now. I'm a big fan. واقعا دمت گرم." Oh, this guy's Persian. Armin John, so can I please ask you to invite Imam Soleimani again on the subject of Shias? Again? Okay, I've never invited him before. Who's this guy, Imam Soleimani? Would he accept my invitation? I would love to have him. Can you guys like tag me and him on Twitter and be like, go on his show so that he sees that? Okay, if you guys want me to have somebody in the channel, go on Twitter, tag me and that person, and tell him like, I think it would be great if you go on Atheist Republic, and that would be a good conversation starter between me and that person. Okay, do that, and then we'll see if that person accepts the invite. Okay. And by me, I don't mean Atheist Republic. I mean my personal Twitter account, Armin Navobi. Atheist Republic is just way beyond like that notification. Nobody checks that notification on Twitter and Atheist Republic because it's just way too much. Muhammad is saying, thoughts on replacing healthcare, education, welfare with a higher basic income than usual? You mean like the Andrew Yang model? What do you mean? Replacing the healthcare, education, and welfare education with a high? You mean a government-run healthcare education with a higher basic income than usual? I mean, I like the UVI model. I do like the universal, having a universal basic UBI, sorry, universal basic income. I like that because it encourages more competition. It also makes people, the worst case people, it helps the people that have the worst case more than other people, right? So I'm for that, and it also reduces the involvement of government in healthcare and education, which makes healthcare and education more flexible. I do think that when it comes to helping the worse off, it's better to put the power in their hand rather than the government deciding what's best for them, because usually people know what they need more than the government, and people's needs differ from person to person. So if you could just help them out to help themselves is usually better than getting the government involved in providing them certain services. But I'm a libertarian, so I'm biased, and I might be completely wrong. Change my mind. But yeah, I'm for that. I'm for a universal basic income, especially when the artificial intelligence situation comes. It's going to put a lot of people out of job, especially truck drivers. Truck drivers is going to be it's going to be the greatest giant layoff in the history of mankind. It's going to be a disaster. I mean, think about how many truck drivers do we have? All they do is drive in a straight line, and they don't have any secondary skills. So as soon as it's really easy for AI to figure out, it's not even like driving in a city. Driving for hours in straight line, AI is going to be like, yeah, we got this, no need. How many truck drivers are going to go out of business? That's scary, man. That's really, really scary. Like not enough people are talking about this. Is he saying you can record audio on Discord with Craigbot in voice channels, also with OBS? I know you can screen share with people in voice channels. Not sure about other possibilities. I uninstalled OBS because my computer is now getting old and I'm using another software now, which is web-based, because apparently OBS is like, my computer is like, yeah, no more OBS for you. And I can't afford right now to buy a new computer, so I'm just I don't know what to do. I don't know what that Craigbot is, unless somebody else records this Discord and then helps me record it, and then we could just upload them on YouTube. That would be fun, actually. But I'm doing too many things though. Does anybody want to like lead? Susanna, do you want to be like the leader of our Discord community and set up a Discord for Atheist Republic? Because I don't know, I'm doing too many things. If I say yes to more things, then I'm not going to be able to do the things that I'm already doing. Darko is saying, is it more efficient to donate with PayPal than to choose higher tier membership on Patreon? Yes. PayPal would be more. Thank you, Darko. That's very sweet of you. Yes, link is in the description for donating to us on PayPal. And actually, I need to reach out to our PayPal donors to join our Skype meetings as well. Right now, I'm only reaching out to our Patreon donors. But is there an option on PayPal to go and get all the emails of people who donated to us on PayPal, so I could tell them that they could join our Skype discussions as well? Because I don't know if you guys have seen, we have like Skype discussion with our patrons right now. But that I shouldn't ignore our PayPal, and we also have Stripe donors too, so I have to talk to them as well. Armin, Canada has a very good healthcare system, so why are you making such statements? UBI will simply make things more expensive. Well, things are also make things more expensive. Yeah, make things more expensive, but it's because the demand, when the demand goes up, obviously the price go up as well, and that demand could go up because people have more money because you gave them UBI, or because the government, even if you have the government, the demand could go up because more people are using it. It doesn't matter if it's through UBI or because you have a healthcare system with the government. It's the same thing. Just because you're not paying out of your when you in Canada, when you go see a doctor, just because you're not paying right there, it doesn't mean that you're not paying. You're still paying. Okay, you're still paying out of your tax. So, and the cost goes up whether you're paying for it through UBI or you're paying for it through your tax. When the demand goes up, there is no way you could help more people without the demand going up. If more people access the healthcare system, the demand goes up. If the demand goes up, prices go up. It doesn't matter if it's the government paying for it or you're paying for it through UBI. So the net effect is the same thing. Susanna saying, if you're in this live chat, go like the video and hit the notification bell. Voila. Yes, notification bell is here. Please subscribe and also hit the notification button. It's free. It's free content. Why not? So go. I mean, if you watch this far, you must like some of what we're saying here. So you might as well hit the notification. Hit the bell thingy here. Hit the bell thingy, and when you hit the bell thingy, it asks you, do you want to see some of it? Do you want to see all of it? Which one do you think you should choose? All of it, obviously. And if you don't like our content, hit the dislike button. That also helps us. Wow, we're going long. Okay, just a few more and then we're done. ARN saying, Armin, if you don't have a regular job anymore, how will you support yourself? Well, through the patrons. Yeah, I'm doing this full time. So thank you to our patrons for letting me. Again, I'm a minimalist, so it doesn't take much to keep me alive. Somewhat I'm a minimalist. Everything else goes towards growing the Atheist Republic community. Part of the reason also why I came to Philippines is to make sure that the Patreon money is enough for my lifestyle. Susanna is saying, I think about heading the Discord. Okay, good. I've never ever used it before, so I'll do some research. Well, you're Gen Z, so you should. Well, how are you not on Discord if you're Gen Z? Vegans ATH is saying 3 million truck drivers in the United States will be made redundant, a saving of $168 billion a year is the motivation for AI-directed autonomous vehicles. Yeah, man, that's too much money to ignore. That's coming. There's no way that's not happening. There's no way companies are not looking at that and like drooling over how much money they're going to be saving, right? And also all the Uber drivers eventually going to be like, oh, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, they're all going to lose their job. You think what do you think Uber's main cost is? Is sharing the revenue with the driver, right? As soon as they manage to get rid of the driver, all the money that you pay to Uber goes to Uber itself. Eventually, all they're gonna, okay. Here's how bad the situation is. AI is now doing surgery better than surgeons. Surgery. Do you think if AI is going to replace a job as complicated as surgery, if surgeons are not safe, what are the chances that drivers are safe? Surgery. Okay. Armin is saying, Armin, UBI will still not cover the cost of healthcare system, so taxes will be needed anyway. UBI will not cover it, and net effect will not be the same. Well, that's a claim. If your claim is true, then, but I need an argument with that claim. Anyways, I mean, how do you know that here's the thing, if you remove all the money that the government is sending on healthcare, if you transfer that to the people, and also if the government is involved in a way that removes any kind of like monopoly and it like increases competition, like if you take all the money that the government directly spends on healthcare and be like, you know what, we're just going to give that as healthcare credit to people, like here's money to everybody. Not maybe you could also do it based on who needs it the most. So it would be the opposite of the insurance companies, right? So in the insurance companies, the more the worse the more healthcare problems you have, the higher your insurance is going to be. The government could be the other way around. The government could be like, actually, the people that are that have more pre-existing conditions, they're going to get more healthcare credits than other people, right? And this is not UBI. This is just going to be like money that you could only spend on healthcare, right? And you go spend on whatever doctor or whatever insurance you want. And also the government, I'm not saying government shouldn't be involved. Imagine the government also says, like, by the way, any company that gets too big or any merger that reduces competition or any price gouging or any so the government just comes up with rules and regulation that make sure that insurance companies are competing with each other across the states as well, not just within states. And also doctors are competing with each other, hospitals are competing with each other. That will dramatically bring the cost of the medicine. Pharmaceutical companies are competing with each other. No cooperation, no back. If strict rules with high penalty. High penalties for people that don't follow the rules. That will bring the cost down and increase the competition, because now people are choosing their healthcare, they're choosing their insurance. That brings the cost down and also helps puts the decision in the hands of the people rather than the government. And again, people usually know what they need more than the government. I don't know if that's right. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is right. I just know it's more complicated than what most people make it seem to be. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Okay, let me just do one last question. One last point. Raven is saying, when Chris and I burned that Bible and posted a video of it on my Facebook, I got a whole lot of crap for it. I told everyone, grow up. I'll remove you from seeing the video. My uncle called us Nazis. I'll remove you from saying, oh yeah, grow up. Yeah, people cry about, yeah, okay. So yeah, that's expected response. So you burned the Bible and you got a lot of crap for it, which is actually interesting, because a lot of people, when I burned the Quran, people saw the reaction. A lot of Christians were like, well, people are not going to care if you burn the Bible. Actually, they do care. They're going to lose their mind as well. Christians do get triggered as well. It's not just Muslim. But this comparison to Nazis is actually very ridiculous, because Nazis did book burning, so they'd be like, well, you're just like Nazis now. I don't know, Nazis also drink water. So that's such a stupid comparison, because when Nazis when they were burning the books, they were trying to remove people's access to certain information. That was the whole point of burning the books. Obviously, this is not the intention when we burn first, and also when the Nazis were burning the books, they were burning other people's books. It wasn't like, hey, let's go buy these books and then burn them, right? They were burning other people's properties, which is always a crime. But when I burn my Quran, and maybe when you burn your Bible, that was my book. I paid for that book. It was my property. I could do whatever whatever I want with my property. Here's the thing: if people go out, not even burning, if people say like, oh, this is my only copy of the Quran, let's go take it away from them so you can't read the Quran, I would be against that, right? I would be against removing people's access to information, including the Quran. I mean, you can't right now, you can't remove people's access to the Quran because there's just so many free ways for people have more access to the Quran than they ever had in history. There's so many free applications on your phone. There's so many websites in the Quran. There's more Qurans than is needed, right? So when we burn the Quran or the Bible, we're just trying to break a taboo. We're just trying to, because they have made it illegal or taboo to burn the Quran, and they've made the ink and paper like sacred. We don't think like there's anything sacred about the Quran. That's why we burn it, to say that, like, you know what, if you want to make it illegal or taboo, then we to express ourselves, we try to challenge those ideas, right? In fact, by burning the Quran and people hearing why we are against the Quran, you might be encouraging more people to read it. So it's actually the opposite of what the Nazis were trying to do, right? One thing else I wanted to say. Yeah, another thing I wanted to say is, like, when the Nazis were burning books, you didn't have digital copies of books. You didn't have the internet. Ink and paper were the main ways for you to store information, right? So, but when anything special about the book is the content that is in the book. The ink and paper itself is nothing special about it, right? There's nothing special about the ink and paper. There's nothing holy about it. There's nothing sacred about it. The content now is independent from the ink and paper. So burning the ink and paper is not really removing the content in any way. And anything that is held sacred, I want to challenge. Any object that is held sacred, I want to challenge I want to remove that from that pedestal. That people, I mean, a lot of Muslims, when used to believe that if anybody burns the Quran or disrespected in any way, they're going to turn into a creature or stone or something instantly. Now a lot of people are saying, like, I burned the Quran and nothing happened to me. It really just, even if they think I did something wrong, it just removes that sacredness from them. Like that idea that is unimaginable for you, somebody to burn the Quran, is instantly gone. So I don't know. I think it was a good thing to do. Change my mind if I'm wrong. There was another question. I said this was the last question, but it was not something else I wanted to see. All right, I'm gonna just end it here. Anyways, again, like and subscribe. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, like his Quran 434, as Susanna says, and do everything else. Every single button that you see under this video, hit all of them. All except unless you're subscribed, don't hit the unsubscribe button. But other than that, hit everything else. Okay? Hit the share button, hit the like button, hit the unlike button if you don't like the video. Comment, say something, anything. It doesn't really matter. Just say something. And then hit one of the suggested videos, I think here. Because YouTube, if you watch this video and then go watch another video, YouTube likes that for some reason. So go watch something else after this. I don't know. Do everything. Just tell the YouTube robots, like, hey, this channel matters. Please stop fighting against it. This is a good channel. Yeah, Susanna is saying I haven't seen that on the buttons, but you just go. Yes, is that how you? Okay, yeah. Yeah, do everything. Okay, I'm learning how to YouTube. I'm learning how to YouTube because I used to not say these things. Now I'm saying like and subscribe because apparently people, if you don't say that, people are not going to do it. Yeah, okay. Love you guys. Thank you for your questions. This is so much fun. See, this is supposed to be half an hour, but I can't help myself. You guys are fun to hang out with, so I ended up being 1 hour instead. Bye, guys.